Hey guys, welcome back to Welding with Mr. Sapanik. Today's lesson is going to be gas metal arc welding padding in the horizontal position. Okay, first thing we're going to start out with is making sure that our plate is in a location to where we can have our correct angles. Notice how I have two plates here. Okay, this plate is not sitting flat on this table, and the reason being is because when we lay that first pass, we want to make sure that we can get a good angle. If it's laying down here, now naturally we're gonna have the wrong angle. So you need to get that up off the material or off the table. So you can either use a plate or a piece of scrap material, tack weld it to it. That way you are able to get the correct work angle, okay? So now we're welding on about 350 inches a minute and 21 volts, okay? When you guys start your padding process, okay, we're gonna start at the bottom, okay? We are not starting at the top. You're gonna get what's called overlap or cold lap, okay? Start at the bottom, working our way up. So you're welding left to right or right to left, okay? I prefer that you guys do it both ways to see which way is better for you. The only downfall of welding from left to right is your body tends to go downhill, okay? You can see a little bit easier if you weld from right to left, but I want you guys to try that in both directions that we have a good feeling for, okay? You can use a drag angle, you can use a push angle. This is where you're going to figure out what's best for you, okay? Starting at the bottom, working our way up, make sure we're having good overlaps, and use a wire brush, okay? After every weld, you know, some of that bad gas and all that dusty stuff, you want to get all that off there. That way you can see the next weld as you're welding through here, okay? So we're going to start. We're going to lay our initial root pass here. And remember, if you have these blue welders, you guys can turn this just a little bit to make it more comfortable for you, okay? We're gonna start, I'm gonna go from right to left. Make sure now this first pass, you want to make sure that you're running just a little bit faster than you normally would with gas metal arc welding. And that being is there's nothing down here for that weld to catch onto. So if you are starting on the edge of your material and you are going too slow, what's gonna happen is that weld is just going to drop down. It's gonna sag. There's nothing down here to catch on, okay? So we'll go ahead and take a look here. All right, notice how we're nice and straight, okay? Look at the little bit of, you know, your silicone here that's coming off. So try and get some of that stuff off, okay? Take the wire brush. Doesn't need to be perfect, just get a little bit of that stuff off there, okay? Now we'll go on to our weld number 2. We're going to go right along the toe of that weld. So the edge of your weld is called your toe. You want to go right along that toe, overlapping, just like any other project, overlapping about half of that weld. 2/3 to half, half to 2/3. Okay? pass number 2. Go ahead and wire brush this a little bit. Okay, notice how we've taken away most of that previous weld, okay? Make sure that there's no gaps in between those welds. A weld is only gonna be as strong as the previous weld. So if there's gaps between those welds, that's where it's gonna fail, that's where it's gonna leak, okay? And this is just a bunch of repetition at this point, okay? We're gonna start here. You can even start on this side and go from left to right. Okay, take advantage of going in both directions. Now notice how I kind of went down there in the center. So when we get to the center in the next weld, we want to maybe hold it up just a little bit higher. Ready? Here we go. Okay, we did straighten it out a little bit there. And sometimes you're not gonna get it straightened out all in one weld. If you work just a little bit at a time, then eventually you'll be able to straighten that out. Okay, so we have 4 passes here, okay? And this has taken up about 1 inch of our weld, all right? So you cannot expect to be done with this entire plate in just a few passes, okay? Padding is a lot of repetition, a lot of the same thing. The only way that you're gonna get better at something is by practicing and having your padding welds. This is one of the best ways you can get a better bead, okay? That's all for today.